Hey everybody, welcome back for another sublimation tutorial. Today we're going to look at how we sublimate onto canvas boards. This one here specifically is just from the dollar store, Dollar Tree, Dollar General, whatever dollar store you have. This is what we're going to sublimate on today. So what you'll need is a canvas board. This one is just the wood. There's no hanging, so you'll just have to like tack it onto the wall or lean it up against something or put it in one of those little holders. You'll need some kind of press. 400 degrees at 60 seconds is what I do with mine. You'll need a sublimation image printed on sublimation paper with sublimation ink. And then also you will need a laminate sheet. And you do want to specifically make sure it says thermal lamination, otherwise it'll just melt. You can get these at Walmart, Office Depot, wherever. They do come in half, so you'll peel it and tear it apart, and you'll end up with two of those. You can set one off to the side. You'll notice that there is a shinier side and also a more matte side. We want to make sure that the matte side is going to go down. Make sure you get any lint or fuzzies off of it. Okay, so what we're gonna do is take our canvas board there and just lay your laminate sheet over it. And we're gonna melt the laminate sheet onto the canvas board. Again, I like to do mine at 400 degrees, about 50 to 60 seconds. It just depends what works best for you. We will put some parchment paper over it or butcher's paper. Again, what works best for you is fine. I do use my parchment paper though. So we'll go ahead and start melting the laminate sheet onto the canvas. All right, so go ahead and remove your parchment paper. You'll notice that it's really flat now. It's melted on there. We do want to give it a few minutes to cool off. If you notice you have bubbling in the laminate, go back and repress it. It just needs to be heated more to get it completely melted down. So I'm gonna let this cool off for a few minutes and then we'll move on to the next step. All right, so the board should be cooled off now enough to be able to handle it. At this point, you should notice that there's some overhang of the laminate sheet. What we're gonna do is go back and cut it off. I have an X-Acto knife that works pretty well and I just cut off the edges to make it flush with the board. Okay, so you'll notice you might have like a little overhang there, and that's okay. You can go back and just real gently slide it off just like that. It comes off pretty easily if you have an X-Acto knife. Scissors are a little bit harder, but I do recommend using this blade. It just really smoothly cuts it all off really easily for you. But at the end, you can go around and clean it back up once your image is on there. So from this point, we will go ahead and sublimate our image onto our canvas. You do want to make sure that you measure your canvas. Mine was an 8.10, so I measured my image an 8.1 by 10.1 just to get a little overhang to make sure everything was covered up. So I like to start with my image down and then turning my canvas over and centering my canvas from there. That way you're not trying to guess where you're placing your image. And then you'll want to tape your board down to your image either with heat resistant tape or painter's tape, just something to keep it in place. I do like to use painter tape. It just kind of keeps it a better hold. And also I don't get that staining either. The yellow brown tape usually seems to stain for whatever reason. Okay, and then from here, we're gonna take our image and flip it over. And you do wanna put a piece of parchment paper or butcher's paper, whatever works for you, underneath your image and your canvas. That way you don't get ink transferring to your pad or your press pad, whatever that's called. And we'll lay that down. Still be gentle though, so you don't move your image too much. And then you'll cover again with the parchment paper. And just make sure it's flat. And then we'll go ahead again for 400 degrees for 60 seconds. I'll do mine in sections, but if you have a full press, you can do it in one go. And do make sure we're giving good pressure at this point. All right, so at this point, we're gonna just slide it off. Try to slide it one way or the other. That way you're not pulling up and your image isn't moving, because that can happen. It can kind of lift up with the heat press. So we'll remove our parchment paper. Kind of a quick tip, real quick before you move your paper. You'll notice that you'll see it bled through your paper, which is a really good thing. If you notice spots that are a little bit lighter, like say the cat's tail right here is a little bit lighter than where I would like it, you can just gently, real gently, lift that side up and look to see your image to make sure that it has sublimated properly. If it hasn't, you can just real carefully lay it back down and repress over it for about another 20 seconds or so, giving good pressure. So I'll do the same thing over here. And you can see it pressed pretty well. So I'm gonna let it cool off. Usually I like to do somewhat of a cool to warm peel. That way we're not smudging any of the ink. So I'll let that cool for a few minutes and we'll come right back to remove the image. All right, so we're back. It is cooled off enough to kind of handle it. It should still be a little bit warm, if not completely cooled. So at this point, you still want to be careful not to be smudging your paper. And just real gently pull your image back. All right, so there you have it. You have a sublimated canvas board. It came out really cute. The colors are really vibrant and nice. Again, if you have those little kind of excess hangovers, you can just go back over and just smooth them off. Like I said, the X-Acto knife works a little bit better. If this video helped you, if you enjoyed the tip and tutorial, please boop the like button, subscribe to the channel, and share for others so they can get helped as well. Have a wonderful day and happy crafting.